I thought financiers would be on the second, but you all are as hard to corral away from eggs and coffee as anybody is. So I am Waller McGuire, and I am honored to lead the St. Louis Public Library and welcome you here today to our great Central Library. I don't know whether you think of libraries in terms of education, but of course education of every type is central to our mission. I don't know whether you think of us in terms of financial education. I learn things about my institution every day. I was on my way to a meeting in the Central West End earlier this week and saw a line stretching around the block at Euclid and wondered what they were lined up for. They were lined up for the Schlafly Branch Library, one of my own institutions, where they were anxious to get tax help and use the computers to begin filing theirs. I'll make no comment about procrastination, but nonetheless, a vital service. I'll also say that years ago, when I began the fundraising for this building, I had the good fortune of being introduced to someone I would say is probably one of the region's most successful and most famous investors. I was beginning to tell him about the library, and he stopped me and he said, "You don't need to tell me about the library." He said, "I and my researchers use Central Library on a regular basis to research my own famous art collection," and he told me that his wife was in one of our branches on a virtually weekly basis because she liked the size of its collection, she liked the advice, and she liked being able to turn the book back over to us and have us take care of it after she was done with it. So I would say that where libraries are diverse in every sense of the word, in terms of education, in terms of income, in terms of race and every status, one of the things that's pretty common with library patrons is they're smart. I will, on your way out of the building, if you have a moment, you can get a little idea of the span of what this building contains. If you go up into the Great Hall, which is 2 levels above us, you're sitting in the former coal bin. If you go into the Great Hall, one of the world's beautiful rooms, you'll see spread out before you one of the world's great rare books collections as well, stunning things in the exhibit cases in there to give you an idea of the span of the St. Louis Public Library's reach and collections. So I'll just say congratulations and thank you for your emphasis on financial education. It's necessity for the success of not only individuals, but for the nation. Thank you and welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Waller. Well, good morning. My name is Serena Strack, and I am the Chief Risk Officer for Midwest Bank Center. I am also honored to have served my second year as co-chair of Money Smart Week, St. Louis Metro, with Debbie Irwin of the United Way of Greater St. Louis. On behalf of Debbie, myself, and everyone here today, I'd like to thank you, Waller, and also Mr. Gerald Brooks, Director of Community Relations and Programming for the library, and your staff, for allowing us to have our second annual kickoff event at the library, hopefully many more to come, representing our 4th Metro St. Louis Money Smart Week. What better place is there to promote financial literacy and education than the premier resource for learning opportunities in our city? If you haven't had the opportunity to do so, please take the time today to stop by and tour the library. We'll have some docents afterwards. I'll be able to give tours for us. First, though, I think we've got an exciting program ahead. We're happy to have our city treasurer back with us to help us kick off Money Smart Week 2015. And a little while later, we'll be hearing from our keynote speaker. We'll also be recognizing all of our local partners. They're the ones who got us to this point today, and we'll be announcing the winners of our annual Money Smart Essay Contest for Kids. Always a highlight of the event, we'll have the opportunity to hear from our winner, who will actually recite the winning essay today. Now, I know many of you are participating in Money Smart Week, your 4th time, and were able to join us here last year at the library. For the benefit of those of you who might be experiencing your first Money Smart Week, though, I wanted to take a minute to give you a little bit of background on the event. Okay, so what is Money Smart Week? Well, Money Smart Week is a public awareness campaign that's designed to help consumers better manage their personal finances. It's achieved through the collaboration and coordinated effort of organizations, actually across the country, including businesses, financial institutions, schools, libraries, not-for-profit government agencies, and the media. These groups come together once a year to stress the importance of financial literacy, to inform consumers about where they can get help, and to provide free educational seminars and activities throughout the week. Programming is offered to all demographics and all income levels and covers all facets of personal finance, from establishing a budget to first-time home buying and to estate planning. Money Smart Week was actually created by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago through a coordinated effort of a group of more than 40 Chicago area organizations working together to promote personal financial literacy. Money Smart Week was born in 2002 and consisted of 6 days of focused presentations by community groups, financial institutions, government agencies, educational organizations, financial experts, all designed to help consumers learn to better manage their personal finances. Under the leadership of Lori Peterson of PNC Banks, I think Lori's here with us today, Money Smart Week was introduced in Peoria. A few years later, Lori approached the Greater St. Louis Financial Education Collaborative about introducing Money Smart Week to the St. Louis metro area. Money Smart Week 2012 was the first St. Louis one, and it consisted of approximately 165 classes, and we welcomed just over 3,000 attendees. St. Louis Metro's Money Smart Week 2014 reached nearly 3,800 consumers, including almost 2,200 children. Without a doubt, our most successful event last year was our first family event. Over 300 youth, ages 3 through 12, joined us at the Living World Museum at the St. Louis Zoo for Money Smart games and activities. That event was so popular that we'll be repeating our children's safari at the zoo tomorrow morning with 18 of our sponsors participating. What will follow is a week filled with nearly 200 free classes and programs covering topics from basic budgeting to saving for college to building credit and to planning for retirement. We'll help you raise money smart kids, and we'll teach you techniques and best practices to help you avoid becoming the victim of identity theft, a particularly hot topic in the St. Louis area right now. Now in its 14th year, Money Smart Week takes place in nearly every state in the country. Okay, that's enough from me. Let's move on to our real speakers. At this time, I would like to introduce our treasurer of the city of St. Louis. Building on a background as a public servant, financial service professional, and educator, Tashara Jones was sworn in as treasurer of St. Louis on January 1st, 2013. She's the first woman to hold the office in the history of St. Louis. Treasurer Jones is the Chief Investment and Cash Management Officer of the city. During her first year in office, she saved the city money by making smart investment decisions and helped hundreds of city employees obtain access to bank services by making direct deposit mandatory. She also launched a monthly Lunch and Learn series for city employees designed to teach them about financial literacy. Treasurer Jones recently established an Office of Financial Empowerment. Alarmed by the high number of unbanked and underbanked residents in St. Louis, Treasurer Jones is committed to financial literacy and helping our residents learn how to make the most of their money so that they can avoid using predatory financial services like payday lenders and rent-to-own. She hosts an annual financial empowerment fair that brings hundreds of residents together with banks and credit unions so they can open bank accounts, learn how to budget, and plan for their future. The treasurer also oversees and manages the city's parking division. Her office plans to permanently install an upgraded parking technology in the spring of 2015 that allows residents to pay on-street parking with credit cards, debit cards, coin, and smartphone apps. I'm looking forward to that. As I was getting ready to come this morning, I was admittedly looking for my husband's wallet and any change that I could find for the parking meter. So, prior to becoming treasurer, Treasurer Jones established a track record of leadership in Missouri House of Representatives. She was a Missouri State Rep from 2008 to 2012 and was the first African American and first female assistant minority floor leader. Treasurer Jones is a Henry Toll Fellow, a graduate of the Center of Advancement of Leadership Skills, and is a member of the New Deal Leaders. That's a group of pro-growth, progressive rising stars in the Democratic Party. She's received the Legislator of the Year awards from the Regional Commerce and Growth Association and the St. Louis Business Journal. St. Louis Magazine named Treasurer Jones to the list of 100 people who shaped the region. Treasurer Jones also enjoys an active volunteer career and sits on the boards of Wyman, the Independence Center, and the People's Community Action Corporation. Born in St. Louis, Treasurer Jones has a master's degree in health administration from the St. Louis University School of Public Health and a bachelor's degree in finance from Hampton University. And I think Treasurer Jones would admit that probably her most important accomplishment is that she's a proud mother of 8. Treasurer Jones?
Thank you, Serena, for that wonderful introduction. I'll have to take you on the road with me. So Serena mentioned that we are increasing the parking technology in the city, and many of you who parked around the library this morning might have seen a green sticker on the back of your meter. That means that you can now download the Park Mobile app to your smartphone. Yes, that includes BlackBerry for those of you who are holding on to that BlackBerry. And you can load that with your credit card. It will send you a reminder when your time's almost out, and you won't get a parking ticket. Now, how many times has someone told you how to avoid a parking ticket? Right? So I want all of you to go to your respective app stores and download Park Mobile today. Shameless plug. Serena also mentioned I'm the proud mother of a 7-year-old rambunctious and smart son named Aiden. And the other day I was snooping through his email. Yes, I snoop. And because they gave him an email account at school. He already knows how to log into Gmail and respond to messages. He's smarter than I am in some respects. So I saw welcome to care.com. And I said, Aiden, why did you open a care.com account? And he said, well, I want a new babysitter. I said, well, why do you want a new babysitter? He said, no, I want a white babysitter. I said, why? He said, because they're fun. That kid of mine. We also have a policy. When we eat out, whenever we eat out, I tell them, if you don't finish your food, then you have to pay for it out of your wallet, out of your allowance. And the only exception is if I have a craving for something he doesn't like. Well, the other night, I had a craving for barbecue. And before we walked into the restaurant, he says, Mom, please, if I don't like barbecue tonight, are you going to take my money if I don't eat it all? I mean, the tooth fairy just paid me for my tooth. And are you going to make me pay for it? I said, no. But, see, even at 7, he knows the lessons about money. So, of course he would, but I just make sure that he learns early how to lose it and how to keep it. And as many of you know, one of our missions is to increase the financial literacy of citizens of this region, and the other is to operate a first-class parking division. Well, in January, can you believe I started my 3rd year in this office? And we're excited about the partnerships that we've been forming with many of you to financially empower the citizens of our region. And I say region because, in my opinion, financial literacy in my office does not just stop at Skinker or the city border. And we're excited to work with you, the financial institutions and nonprofits, to reach more people in the years to come. And with the assistance of Alderman Chris Carter, we started the city's first Office of Financial Empowerment. And the establishment of this office allows the Treasurer's Office to deliver financial empowerment programming for the city of St. Louis. And we're proud to announce that in June of this year, our office, in partnership with Operation Hope, the St. Louis Regional Unbanked Task Force, Eagle Bank and Trust, Midwest Bank Center, Scottrade Bank, committed to build and staff a financial dignity center in St. Louis City Hall. Many of you came in early March to look at the construction. It's well underway. We got pushed back a little bit, so we'll be open in June, and we'll have a great grand opening in June. And the center will be available to help anyone who wants to change their financial future. The Treasurer's Office will renovate existing office space in City Hall to create the Hope Inside Financial Dignity Center, offering one-on-one counseling, a cyber cafe, and classroom and conference room space to hold approximately 20 participants to conduct financial education courses. And we realize that many people come to City Hall for 90% of the time it's for unpleasant reasons. Am I right? Well, we're trying to change that trajectory and make people and have people come to City Hall for good reasons. I think the only good reasons people come to City Hall are what? Birth certificate, marriage certificate, anything else? I said good reasons, Maddie, good reasons. Maybe to look up some property, see who owns it. The last time this year, we hosted our first financial empowerment fair, and this month last year, fair attendees were able to visit with local banks and credit unions and get important information from government agencies. Most importantly, attendees were treated to a powerful message from the CEO of Operation Hope, John Hope Bryant, and he summed it up with this statement: if you don't have a bank account and you don't understand the language of financial literacy or money, you are an economic slave. Let that sink in. If you don't understand the language of money, you're an economic slave. So this year, we're happy to do it again at St. Louis Community College at Forest Park. So save the date for Saturday, April 25th. We will culminate Money Smart Week with the Financial Empowerment and Job Fair. Notice I said and job fair, because in my humble opinion, financial literacy and employment go hand in hand. You can't keep a bank account if you don't have a job. And in some cases, in many cases, you can't get a job without a bank account. One of our office's most exciting programs will be launched in the fall of this year with the start of the 2015-2016 school year. Our office assembled a dream team of partners to grant every kindergarten student entering public school a deposit-only savings account funded by the Treasurer's Office to be used for post-secondary expenses. As they matriculate through school, children will have the opportunity to increase their balance through performance-based incentives like perfect attendance, good grades, and family participation in financial education initiatives. We're forever grateful to our partners, Wells Fargo, First Financial Federal Credit Union, the Center for Enterprise Development's One-to-One Fund, Vista Shares, St. Louis Public Schools, and St. Louis Charter Schools. We titled it the College Kids Children's Savings Program. Our most important investment should be in our children, and this program promises to be one that will bring us returns for years to come. Children who have savings accounts open in their names, no matter how large or how small, are 3 times more likely to go to college and 7 times more likely to complete college. And pardon me for my editorial statement, but if the state of Missouri can find money for a new stadium for a team that doesn't even want to be here, then I can find money to invest in our kids. Now, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could replicate this program in St. Louis County schools? Maddie, I see you here. Ethel, those are my St. Louis County people. Hey. Last year, I stood here and told you that we were just getting started. Well, this year, I am proud to stand here and tell you that we're on a roll, but we need your help still. We all play a pivotal role in delivering financial literacy resources. And we're all in this together, and the only way we'll cure the epidemic of the unbanked and financially illiterate is through teamwork. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Tashara. I have just two quick comments. First, I want to say I am very proud of myself. I resisted the temptation to pull my phone out of my purse and immediately download that parking app. But that's going to be one of the first things that I do when I do get back outside. The second thing I want to say, I think many of you in the room who know me know that my passion is financial education and youth. And the programs that we're starting through the city and hopefully can advance to the county are just right at my line, and I 100% support it. So congratulations on what you're doing, and thank you. Suzanne Gelman had hoped to be here today. She actually introduced us to our next speaker, but she came down sick last night and asked to be excused this morning. So we agreed with her that it was probably best that she take it easy this morning. So I now have the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker is Jeff Yeager. Jeff's spent 24 years as a CEO and senior executive managing national nonprofit organizations in Washington, D.C., before launching his current career as a freelance writer, public speaker, and media personality in 2004. First dubbed the Ultimate Cheapskate by Matt Lauer on the NBC Today Show, where Jeff occasionally appears as a guest correspondent, Yeager specializes in an offbeat blend of original humor and practical advice for living a better life by spending and consuming less. He's the author of 4 popular books about frugal living, including his most recent, How to Retire the Cheapskate Way. Jeff is AARP's official savings expert, writing for ARP's publications and hosting a weekly web show on YouTube called The Cheap Life, which is produced by ARP. He's appeared on over 500 radio and TV shows on most major networks, and was an original cast member of TLC's hit reality show, Extreme Cheapskates. Voted funniest student in his 5th grade class.
And I would have been in the 6th grade too if I'd gone on.
Jeff comes to us from Accokeek, Maryland, with his wife, Denise, and his beloved compost pile, Gomer. You can just visit his website at www.ultimatecheapskate.com. Jeff?
Say I am Jeff Yeager. I'm known as the ultimate cheapskate. I'm also known as the titan of tightwads, the guru of greenbacks, the maestro of misers, the commander-in-chief. I am, with my head held high, America's cheapest man. And I want to talk to you about what I do, what I've been doing the past 10 years, and the mission I'm on to convince people that being a bit of a cheapskate is a good thing. It's not a vice, it's a virtue. Now for me, I don't define a cheapskate in a pejorative sense. Call us frugal, call us thrifty, call us smart consumers. I choose to call myself a cheapskate because I hope to, through my books and my talks, engage people in what's ultimately a very serious conversation, but engage them with sort of a sense of humor and this outlandish label of cheapskate. So in my world, a cheapskate is not somebody who's greedy or dishonest. It's not somebody who's a pensive penny pincher. It's not your grandpa and grandma's old Scrooge. It's sort of the polar opposite of a conspicuous consumer. It's a person who's too smart and too self-confident to buy stuff they don't need and probably don't even want if they would only sit for a minute and think about it before they buy it. So again, it's not about greed, it's not about sacrifice, it's not about trying to amass a big bank account for the sake of having a big bank account. It's about really human happiness, deciding what's important in your life, what money has or maybe doesn't have to do with it, and getting on with that. So in a way, it's a very radical message, although I like to say it's as radical as implementing some of the ideas that many of people my age, our grandparents, lived by, and going back to those simpler times. So that's what I write about. I've had the pleasure of writing 4 books on the topic, interviewing some hundreds of people who feel about money as I do, and I don't claim that they're a common breed. We know statistically in America they're very uncommon. And again, these are not people, and we all know them. We call them a cheapskate because they're a bad tipper, They're greedy and so on. That's not the kind of person that I write about. I write about sort of the open-hearted cheapskate. But before I get into all of that, let me back up a minute. And when I said I was America's cheapest man, I could see some of you kind of doubt that. I saw somebody point like, oh, he's cheaper than you. My boss here is cheaper than you. There's no doubt about it. And that's okay. I mean, I get challenged for my title as America's cheapest man all the time. In fact, just the other day, a friend of mine questioned my credentials both as a cheapskate and an environmentalist, and I'm proud to be both. I think they go hand in hand. He questioned my both credentials, when he found out that I only used disposable razors. And I said, what do you expect? I never find the other kind in my neighbor's trash. See, I bring my A game. I mean, I'm not your typical cheapskate. Now, this, of course, being a savvy group of personal finance folks, I know I'm among friends. I can always feel that vibe when there are fellow thrifty, frugal cheapskates in the crowd. So raise your hand if you consider yourself among the tribe. Okay. Come on, you're among friends. This is one audience where we can say, yes, my name is Jeff and I'm cheap. Okay, so we have a lot of self-proclaimed cheapskates, and so it's always good to speak. And with all due respect, I mean, I'm sure you're very frugal, and God bless you for that. You're probably the kind of person that, like at the holidays, you save your wrapping paper, you put it back on the roll, you use it again next year. Not me. I save it, I put it back on the roll, I take it back to Walmart for a refund. No, I don't do that. See, that's a joke. That would be dishonest. And I said I don't do dishonest things, or at least when they matter. Here's one that I've actually done for decades now. And we entertain quite often. We don't drink much alcohol, but when we have people over for dinner, I don't decant the wine I serve my dinner guests. I recant it. And by that, I mean that before they arrive, I take my box of inexpensive wine, and I stealthily funnel it into empty premium label wine bottles that I've been given over the years. I refer to box wine as card Bordeaux. And so seriously, I've done this for decades now, and I can assure you that no one, even people who claim to know wine, have ever questioned the authenticity of the wine that I serve. If they taste it and they think, oh, they look at that bottle, and that bottle says $70, you know? So I'm not going to trust my taste buds. I'm going to trust that bottle, Jaeger sprung for the good stuff. If you don't believe me, the University of Arizona, which for whatever reason seems to do a lot of research related to what I write about, University of Arizona did a study that proved just that. They took a $5 bottle of wine in a taste test and told people, this is $5 wine, how do you like that? And then they took the same wine and said, this is $50 wine. And you know what? Everybody loved that $50 wine 10 times more than the $5 wine. So it's very true. So we have some cheapskates with us, and that's great. We're among friends. Do we have anybody who has the other problem? Overspending. And this could be poison, I know, to your careers to admit it in this, but you know, so nobody's, well, some people are admitted, but they're leaving. They're rushing out of the building as they admit it. Yeah, and that's fine, ma'am. We're going to get you some help. Set your purse aside, and no one will get hurt. You know when you have a spending problem when, for instance, somebody steals all of your credit cards, but you don't report them as stolen because so far the thief is only spending like half of what you do. See, it's a good investment. So I briefly described what I mean by a cheapskate, and I should say going into this that the books I write are entirely about the spending side of personal finance. It's all about this belief that you can spend and consume less, and I believe that most Americans, not all Americans, but most Americans would actually be happier, and the quality of their life would increase if they would only spend and consume less. So I don't write anything on the investing side. As I like to say, I don't write books about how to get rich. I write books about how to get happy.
Now we have generous sponsors, without whose support we wouldn't have Money Smart Week and wouldn't be here today. So this year we had 2 platinum sponsors, Citi, that's CITI, and PNC Financial Services Group. We had 1 gold sponsor, Commerce Bank, 11 silver sponsors, Bank of America, Carrollton Bank, Central Bank of St. Louis, Chestnut Credit Counseling, FCB Banks, the FDIC Money Smart, First Bank, Midwest Bank Center, the Business Bank of St. Louis, TIAA Cref Trust Company, and U.S. Bank. We also had 2 bronze sponsors, Pulaski Bank and Royal Banks of Missouri, as well as 7 copper sponsors, First State Bank of St. Charles, Lee May Housing, Montgomery Bank, Prosperity Connection, Regions Bank, Southern Commercial Bank, and St. Louis Community Credit Union. In addition to our cash sponsors, we also had a number of in-kind donors whose contribution was significant as well, including the St. Louis Public Library, who helped with marketing, distribution of the calendars, and hosting our event today. Also, St. Louis County Library, who also was played a key role in distributing the Money Smart Week calendars, bookmarks, and hosting events as well. In addition, the St. Louis American, who gave a substantial discount on the printing cost for the Money Smart Week insert that is actually out this week and which will be distributed to area churches. Also, ClearPoint Credit Counseling, who donated in-kind services for the creative work on the calendar. University of Missouri Extension, United Way of Greater St. Louis, of course, for my staff time, as well as hosting of meetings, as well as I want to give a shout out to People's Community Action Agency, who also allowed Lisa Potts to spend so much time on the planning this week. In addition, I would like to thank all of our committee chairs. Your leadership has really made this possible by you stepping out to agree to chair a committee. That's really what makes Money Smart Week happen. It is not a top-down operation, it's a grassroots operation with each committee working together and making this all possible. So I want to recognize individuals that were key leaders in these realms. Lisa Potts again with the City of St. Louis planning team. We had 5 county planning teams. So Lisa Potts spearheaded the City of St. Louis planning group. Lori Peterson actually worked with several counties over in Illinois. So thank you for your leadership. Serena Strack stepped up when we had a gap in Jefferson County and worked with some folks out there to get a few events on the program. And Suzanne Gelman, who couldn't be here today, did a great job out in St. Charles, Lincoln, and Warren counties, and working with the team out there to bring programming to our western area of the metro area. And then Lauren Treat, again, who stepped up when we had a gap in leadership and was able to work with St. Louis County folks to bring programs to the area. In addition, we have some standing committees, the Calendar Committee, Lori Peterson, the Faith Outreach Committee, Vita Jeffries, thank you for your work. Working with our area pastors at the Pastors Breakfast this year, we had over 150 people and 90 pastors who are engaged in giving the message of Unified Message Day on the importance of family financial literacy. That will be this Sunday, so that has really grown. That was an initiative that was started last year and has really grown, and we're hoping has a very positive impact in the community. In addition, wanted to thank Cassidy Obis with Country Financial for really being the ringleader and coordinator for the Money Smart Kid Read events, bringing story time to the libraries primarily throughout the region and providing free books for all of the kids that attend the Kid Read events. The essay contest, we had 2 co-chairs, Grant Black and Crystal Avery Morris. Thank you for leading that initiative for the Kid Essay Contest. We're looking forward to having our award winners come up in just a little bit to receive your scholarship awards, and then also to hear the reading of the award, the grand prize award essay. In addition, marketing and social media, Paula Gartner, myself, and Lauren Treat with the social media subcommittee were helpful in getting the word out about Money Smart Week. And the survey committee, Sharon Stepney and Serena Strack. I wanted to acknowledge your work. And lastly, you've heard several names multiple times. Lori Peterson again with the zoo event. We look forward to seeing everybody out tomorrow at the Living World, where we hope to engage lots of kids and their families in Money Smart games and activities. Next, I would like to introduce Suzanne Huff. She is the Vice President of Community Development at Carrollton Bank and will be presenting the proclamations from, I believe we have one from the City of St. Louis and also from St. Louis County today. And if I can assist in any way,
Yes.
please let me know.
Good morning. Money Smart Week is really fortunate to have not just the endorsement and participation of City Treasurer Tashara Jones, but also the Mayor's Office of the St. Louis City and the County Executive for St. Louis County. They have prepared proclamations and they both have a similar message, so we're going to read one of the messages to you. Maybe that.
They're taped.
Oh, well, they're taped. Uh-oh.
That was a trick.
So this is from the St. Louis County Executive. Whereas the financial well-being of individuals is linked to the nation's economic progress, and improved financial literacy results in a higher standard of living and more stable communities. And whereas becoming financially literate is a long-term process that for many requires the assistance of institutions outside the home, and in times of rapidly changing technologies and developments, consumers have many choices of how to manage their financial affairs. And whereas educational and financial institutions, government entities, and community-based organizations can work together to make consumers aware of the benefits of financial literacy in order to make informed choices about their personal finances and offered programs. Now, therefore, I, Stephen Stenger, County Executive, and also Mayor Slay of the City of St. Louis, do hereby proclaim April 18th to 25th, 2015 as Money Smart Week, St. Louis Region. And we urge the community to become familiar with the services of financial organizations that will help citizens make informed choices regarding their personal finances. And I think that that is really what it's all about, all of us coming together to help the community this week. So next on our agenda is Grant Black from the University of Missouri St. Louis, who will be telling us more about the Money Smart Kids Essay Contest.
Well, good morning. Well, Jeff, you certainly inspired me. You know, my wife was just, I'm in good company. My wife was just asking me the other day, going through our closet, and she starts pulling out these shirts. She's, is it okay if I get rid of this one? And I kind of get this look on my face that, you know, I'm getting pretty uncomfortable. I want to hang on to that. It's hard to let some things go. I direct our Center for Entrepreneurship and Economic Education at the University of Missouri St. Louis, and I get the pleasure of being involved in educational outreach related to economics and personal finance, basically on a daily basis. And being a part of the Money Smart Kid Essay Contest is just a great thrill. You know, we all believe in the adage, it's never too early to start saving. What we often struggle with is empowering those at young ages to really become smart money managers. Children are never too young to begin learning practical, wise money management skills. Lots of the things that Jeff really talked about. Evidence clearly shows that the earlier children learn important financial information, principles, and practices, the better off they're going to be in successfully managing their finances later in life. Well, the Money Smart Kid Essay Contest helps foster those financial skills in students throughout our region. Approximately 100 students in grades 6 through 8 participated in this year's essay contest. Contestants came from a wide range of schools throughout Missouri and Illinois. The students submitted really great essays responding to the question, what is the biggest obstacle to saving your money? And what technological and or banking solutions might help you and your friends begin to save? You know, the committee just had a great time actually reading all of these. You know, if you get a chance next year, get involved because it's just fun hearing what these kids really have to say. We can learn a lot by listening I'm actually inspired by a lot of the ideas, and I'm wanting to do something with them. After a challenging review by the essay contest committee, we selected about the top 20 essays, and those essays underwent a second evaluation. And then from those, the top essays were selected and actual interviews were done with the finalists. And the top 3 winners are actually here today, and we're going to see them in just a few moments. Well, they faced really stiff competition, but they did a great job describing the challenges young people face in trying to save, and importantly, also coming up with some innovative ideas on how to improve saving behavior among young people. We're proud of all the students who participated and all their learning about money management. You know, just the support that the community is offering, empowering these kids in our community can turn these communities around and set us on a new trajectory. That's what this is all about. This contest would not be possible without the kind and generous support of our sponsors, Country Financial, Metropolitan St. Louis CRA Association, and Vantage Credit Union. I'd like to introduce my co-chair, Crystal Avery Morris from the private bank. She's actually going to introduce our winners and assist with the presentation of the scholarship awards.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am Crystal Avery Morris with the Private Bank and Trust, and on a day-to-day basis, my daytime job basically is to be a community mortgage lender, and I get an opportunity to help families make one of the most financially significant decisions that they'll ever have to make, which is purchasing a home. So I was honored to serve as the co-chair of the Money Smart Week essay contest. The Money Smart Week essay contest is an initiative that's purposed to elevate the awareness amongst middle schoolers about being money smart. Our goal is to encourage dialogue about financial responsibility and best practices for financial management. An African proverb says that it takes a village to raise a child. And I want to say thank you to the villages, the parents, the teachers, the pastors, for all of your hard work. It was evidenced in all of the well-written, thought-provoking, and in sometimes comical essays. Let's give all of the participants a round of applause. Without further ado, I would like to begin by introducing our third place finalist, who will be the recipient of a $500 award sponsored by Vantage Credit Union, Ms. Jaden Oystermeyer. Come on. Gotta get pictures. Congratulations, Jaden. You wanted to stay here for pictures for all of them? Okay, just stay here. All right. Our second place finalist, the recipient of a $1,000 scholarship sponsored by the Metropolitan St. Louis CRA Association, Mr. Caleb Langsdorf. Congratulations, Caleb. And our first place finalist and recipient of a $2,000 scholarship sponsored by Country Financial is Miss Hannah Brown. Hannah, would you please come forward with your essay? going to give Hannah the opportunity to read her essay to all of the attendees.
Lately, it appears that the majority of the population is obsessed with money. Whether it is making money, hoarding money, or spending money, the crisp bills and shiny coins are certainly the object of many people's affections. I, a 14-year-old, am not excluded. I care very much about my money and often wish for more. This brings me to an obstacle: saving. Like most females my age, I am victim to endless advertisements of new clothes and products. For me, the hardest part of saving money is that I constantly feel the need to spend it. For example, I will be at a shopping center with friends and walk into an expensive store. I will then find something I have to have and spend my money on whatever the item is. Most of the time, my friends make spur-of-the-moment purchases as well. There definitely needs to be a simple way for young people like me to save our money. With this issue in mind, I thought of a reward program banks could have to encourage teenagers to save money. Entitled Saving Pays Off, the program would be for youth aged 13 to 18. Each time a person deposits $75 into a savings account and leaves it there for a month, the bank would present the saver with a selection of $5 gift cards to popular businesses such as Starbucks and Target. The person would pick the gift card they want and get one card for every $75 saved. As the person's money sits in the bank, they would receive another card periodically as $10 in interest is earned. This would motivate teenagers to save their money by letting them see for themselves that saving pays off.
Congratulations to all of the finalists, and thank you to all of the sponsors. This wouldn't be possible without you. Hold it up so they can see it. There you go.
Grant, Crystal, thank you. I have to admit that I had the pleasure of being one of the judges in that final round for the kids' essay contest. And maybe aside from the zoo event tomorrow, when I hope to have my picture taken with Cookie Monster, reading the kids' essays was the most enjoyable part of preparing for Money Smart Week. Hannah, I think maybe next year I need to see if I can get you out of school and maybe you can help with the ceremonies. You did a great job reading your speech today. And I think there's a few jealous bankers out there that we can't come up with ideas like Hannah or Caleb or Jaden did. I'll tell you what, it was amazing some of the ideas these 6th, 7th, and 8th graders have on how we can turn things around and help them and ultimately, help ourselves. It really was rewarding. I can see you all as young entrepreneurs, and frankly, there's no reason that most of your ideas or many of your ideas can't be implemented actually pretty easily. That's about the end of our official program today. I have a few final thank yous. I personally want to thank our Treasurer Joan, she left a few minutes ago, and our featured speaker, our keynote speaker, Jeff Yeager, for joining us. Comical, I found myself thinking, that's me, or, well, that one's my husband. Great tips today. I also want to thank my co-chair, Debbie, and I have to thank Lori Peterson. We've heard her name several times today. When as the co-chair, I